hey, this is your girl Shauna with Visually Speaking Podcast, here with another interview. And today I have with me the beautiful
Shanae M Artis.
And she is a business owner. She has a counseling service. She has a lot. So I'm gonna let her go over her introduction about who she is. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Shanae.
Yeah, so my name is Shanae M Artis, and I'm an author. I'm a business consultant. I'm also a reentry expert. And I work to serve people, help people build their businesses, build their brands. I love working with individuals that are returning from incarceration and supporting them and getting their lives back on track. Mm-hmm. I love working with businesses that are wanting to operate in purpose. I'm a woman of faith and also a woman that believes in operating in purpose and wanting to fulfill my life's purpose. So yeah, I'm a mother. I have a teenager who thinks she's my mother sometimes.
It's the girls, I promise
it's
you.
It's always the girl. But yeah, that's who I am.
Yeah. Nice. So I'm gonna start back from when you first got into this. 2010. Tell me about that.
2010. What did I do in 2010? I started with makeup artistry. You talking about?
Mm-hmm. So you makeup artistry. You started with the counseling. If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. No counseling.
Okay. So tell me what you started with 2010 when you
so
first
around
started.
2010 is actually when I started working in makeup artistry.
Okay.
But I was also working with youth at that time in residential treatment centers.
Gotcha.
But the bigger thing is not the bigger thing, but the most prominent thing during that time was the makeup artistry. Mm-hmm. And just really started working as an entrepreneur, trying to build my brand. I've always had a love for wellness and for women's wellness and for wanting to help women be the best version of themselves. Mm-hmm. And I found that doing makeup artistry kind of gave me the opportunity to kind of help women build their confidence and their self-esteem.
Yes.
And so around that time, I actually started a handmade cosmetic line that it didn't really go anywhere, but that was the beginning of me getting into the wellness industry and wanting to really support women and changing their self-image, their self-esteem, and helping them build their confidence.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Because, I mean, we as women, we can always use a boost of confidence,
Absolutely.
even though we have confidence in ourselves.
Yeah.
But just have that little extra boost of confidence. Yeah, that
just
just
good about
has
ourselves
us
and
when
who
our
we
shoulders
are.
roll back
It
and
does.
stuff.
Yes.
Makes us feel really good about ourselves.
It does.
Yeah. And then for you as a person to be able to give someone that confidence, it just makes you feel better inside.
Absolutely.
That you were able to deliver that.
Yeah. And I think it was more so, it's always been more so about helping people learn how to build that for themselves. You know what I mean? So that they don't have to look for affirmation from others to feel good. Like they can find it within.
Yeah.
You know? And maybe it might take getting your hair done. Maybe it might take getting your nails done. Maybe it might take putting on some makeup and something like that. But being able to kind of show them through my own just understanding information, you know, and experience with doing those things has really been a beautiful thing.
Awesome. I definitely love that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to jump a few years. So reentry program. What made you decide to get into that?
So that was actually a divine, assignment. I for some reason growing up, I've always just had like a fascination, not in a weird way, but just like a curiosity about prison and wanting to understand it. And I just remember watching all the prison shows and like just really being fascinated, like, oh my God, this really happens to people. But when I moved, I have this story of leaving New York, coming to North Carolina because I'm not from here. And when I got here, I found a church home and I volunteered through my church at the women's prison in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I just remember having a lot of dreams, and God speaks to me in dreams. I was having a lot of dreams about being in prison, but it wasn't like I was in prison as a inmate. I was in prison, like I saw myself standing in front of a group of people teaching them. Wow. I saw myself just like in different environments, but within the prison system. And I just remember praying like, all right, Lord, what are you saying? Because I'm not going to prison. Like, I'm not about to commit no crimes. You know what I mean? So like, what are you showing me? And I remember having a dream of me standing at the top of a hill, and there was a big building behind me, which I knew at that time was a prison. And there was also, and I was looking down. And a few months later, maybe even a few weeks later, I went to a revival that my pastor was preaching at for another church. And the woman that was from my church over prison ministry came to me, and she was like, have you ever thought about volunteering at the prison? And I was like, oh my God, that's what these dreams have been kind of leading me to or whatever. So long story short, I wind up going through the process to become a volunteer at the women's prison. And when I got my blue card, which is what you need for North Carolina, I went online and I started Googling jobs. I started Googling like different places where I could volunteer. Cause I'm like, okay, I got this card now. Where do I go? What do I do? Yeah. And I came across this job posting, and it was like the Holy Spirit told me that's your job. And so I applied for the job. Well, matter of fact, I reached out to the people the next day, and because the job was closed, but it was still posted. So I called and I said, hey, I see that this job is closed, but are you willing to accept my application still? And she was like, yes, submit it. Yeah. So I submitted the application, went through the interview process, and I got the job. And that was my first job working in reentry and working for the women's prison in downtown Raleigh. And a few months after the fact, when I asked them about why I got the job, like what made her choose me, especially coming late. One, she said that when the posting closed, they knew that they didn't have the right, like they had people and they would have taken one of those people, but she just felt that she didn't have the right person. And she said, when I reached out to her and she went online, she Googled me and found my YouTube when I used to do makeup videos and do my encouragement, and like, I have this thing called Makeup and Mindsets where I'm doing makeup, but I'm also giving encouragement and that kind of stuff. She said when she saw that, she knew that I was the perfect person for that job. And so that's how I got it. And so I've been doing that work ever since, and I love it. Like being able to recognize that if it were not for God's grace, I would be on the other side. That's number one. And then number two, being able to be someone that he used to give hope and help to people that are returning to our communities who, you know, have found themselves, whether through their choices or through just their ignorance or what have you, have found themselves in really dire situations, and they just need somebody to give them a hand. You know, even if that hand is just to get something to eat or get some clothes or get, you know, to the next level, get a job. You know what I mean? They just need somebody to help them. So I'm humbled and honored by the fact that I'm allowed to serve in the ways that I can. Yeah.
I love that. I really do. So a little backstory on me. Okay. So I'm from Virginia. I moved here in 2020. I used to work with a nonprofit organization, and in that nonprofit organization, it was a two-part. Okay. We had one part that we, you know, helped with the youth, you know, take them to different activities, basically to keep them out of the streets. Yeah. To keep them, you know, not going into that direction. Right. Of in prison. Yeah. The second half was that I did assist with the reentry system in Virginia. Yeah. I worked on the male side because the person who I worked with is a guy. Okay. So I was on that side. We didn't work with the women. It was interesting to see that although these people were in prison, that's not where they wanted to be. You know, they were remorseful for a lot of things that they did and hopeful for what will happen when they come out. Yeah. So the reentry program was, of course, one of the things that they were excited to be a part of because they could make a difference, or to assist with making a difference from when they came out. Yeah. Although it was kind of hard because there's a lot of us. And when we come out from prison, of course, for one, it's a culture shock, especially if they've been locked up for a long time. Right. They're not used to all the changes that have happened in the outside world from them being inside. Absolutely. Knowing that they can see what's going on, but to actually be in it is different. And with that, well, let me back up. Of course, a lot of, especially our Black men, it's hard for them to find the jobs.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to find housing. It's hard to find someone who's going to accept them because they want to try again to get back into society.
Absolutely.
And because of that, because of the fact that they get denied a lot, that recidivism comes into play.
Yeah.
They end up coming back into prison because that's their safe space now, technically. Excuse me. So what are some of the things that you do as far as on the women's side to help reduce recidivism?
So that was when I worked specifically for the prison ministry with women. Yeah,
Yes.
but now I work at a county level. We have the organization I work for. We oversee the local reentry council for Wake County. And so we work with men and women. So It's not just, I have been blessed to expand the impact and the influence that we're making. But what do? So we operate in two buckets. One is direct services and the other one is a network of partners. And so the direct services piece is where we, help people get those basic needs. We help them get employment. We help them prepare for employment, resume writing, mock interviews, giving them clothes, that kind of stuff. We also cover scholarships for people that might want to go back to get an industry recognized credential like CDL, HVAC, electrical wiring, some type of trade something to add to, maybe, because we got people that come see us that got bachelor's and master's degrees, you know what I mean? Like not everybody is in a situation where they don't have education. So it may be someone that just needs us to help them pay for books so that they can finish out a degree program that they started or something. So we do that as well. We get them connected with housing if they need transitional housing when they're getting out, they don't know where they're gonna go. Or if they're in a situation where they have housing, but they need help staying in that house because maybe their hours at work got reduced or something. So they need help with covering their month expense or something. So we do that on a direct services side. We give them case management. They work with somebody one-on-one to kind of help them develop a plan of what they need to do and where they want to go. And it's all person-centered based on what they need, not what we think they should do, but what they feel is best for them. And then we help them kind of refine it in a way that it's realistic, it's actionable, and it's something that they're going to be able to be successful with. And then we walk alongside them to get that done, or our case management team walks alongside them to get that done. The other side is our council, which is our network, which is the area that I'm currently responsible for as a coordinator. And we pretty much oversee this network of partners. We got about 140 different community organizations, community members, churches, and just different groups around in Wake County and surrounding areas that have a vested interest in reentry. And we come together quarterly to meet and just kind of talk, share resources, information, all that kind of stuff. We also have subcommittees that kind of speak to identifying the barriers and then addressing, finding solutions for those barriers. And the subcommittees focus on specific areas. So we have a housing subcommittee, of course, housing. We have an employment subcommittee, employment. And then we have one that covers the supportive services. So that's anything outside of housing and employment. One of the things that the direct services, that's us providing services for people and making sure that they're real time and prayerfully in a timely manner getting access to whatever they need, whatever it is that they need to be stable, right? And to become self-sufficient. The council and the network side of it is really where I've worked really hard to not only build our network, but to develop a cohesive community of people that work together. When I first got into reentry, when I was working at the women's, with the women, I saw that there were a lot of people in the community doing work around the same people, but they weren't necessarily doing it together. And so you would have one person coming to me, and going to you, and going to him, and it's just like, if we're all serving the same people or the same people or people with the same kind of issues, why not figure out how to do that together. Instead of making them run around like chickens with their head cut off, and then us doing the same. And so for the past 2 years, I have organized and hosted a Wake Reentry Resource Exchange
Nice.
that has brought, the first one was 144 community members came out. We have 38 organizations there represented, from behavioral health to food insecurity, housing, peer support,
Wow.
training and education, like all of the different areas that people need support in were represented at this event. We also had a panel discussion the first time and the second time of individuals with lived experience. And both of them were great panels. The second one that we did in April of this year, I really enjoyed that because they really went deep around the challenges that people face, not just the systemic barriers, but the challenges with reuniting with their family. You know what I mean? The challenges with showing up for themselves with service providers. They talked about post-incarceration syndrome and some of the ways that, and the stress responses that people display, and we may see it as them being resistant to help, when in all actuality, this person is traumatized and they don't know how to respond or how to show up. So it was a really good event. But overall, that's pretty much what my aim is for reentry right now, especially in Wake County, is being able to bring people together, network, learn who's doing who and who's doing what in the community, so that we can leverage our resources, especially with all of these funding cuts, because some people don't even have money to do the work anymore. You know, but the work still has to get done. So
at the end of the day,
seeing how we can work together to get it done. Still gotta get done.
Definitely.
So,
what are some of the other challenges that you have faced
in my life?
Well, in your life, yes. You can talk about your life,
or work.
Either or. We can
Which
go
one
both.
you want to know?
Let's go with your life first. Then we go with work.
Life.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges I experienced in my life? I mean, childhood trauma, like most of us. I actually wrote a book. I don't know if I put the book in my bio, but it's called "This Is Not My Life: Overcoming 10 Steps to Overcoming Fear and Adversity." And it just talks about some of the trauma, childhood trauma, sexual abuse that I experienced, physical abuse, because of those experiences, having behavioral issues, being labeled and placed into residential treatment centers because, at that time, people didn't understand ACEs, right? They didn't understand that childhood trauma leads to behavioral issues with, whatever. So all of that. Then being a solo parent, I want to really say that that hasn't been a traumatizing experience for me at all, but it has been a lot. But by the grace of God, we have done well. My daughter is 17 and still alive. So.
Amen.
And well.
Amen.
So good. I think I did good with that one. But yeah, I think one of the most challenging times in my life as an adult has been leaving New York. And coming to North Carolina. I left at a time where things were just really unclear for me, but it was unclear, but it was clear. Like, it was unclear what I was gonna do and where I was gonna go, but it was very clear that I needed to do something. Because if I would have stayed where I was, I would not be who I am today.
I felt that.
And that's where, listen, and that's where the book came from. That the book kind of came out of that, but. I moved here, my daughter was 5 years old, and I just remember packing up our car, and literally she's in the back like, the speaker's falling on me. And I'm like, girl, push it to the side, we gotta go. You know what I mean? And got rid of my whole house. I don't even think I sold anything. I think I literally gave it away to people because I was just like, I gotta get out of here. Transitioning to North Carolina, 1 bedroom with a 5-year-old. All we had was an air mattress. I mean, we didn't even have a dining room table for like the first several months. It wasn't until one of my coworkers told me that she was getting rid of her table. I don't know if she told me she was getting rid of her table, and like my pride was like, I need to ask her for that table, and she wound up giving it to me. That's how we had a dining room table when we first got here. Nice. But navigating that, it was really a challenging time. I went from having an established life in New York to coming down here and having to restart my life all over again. And it was a challenge. It was a challenge. And doing it as a single parent, on one income. But it was a challenge, but it was something that I know that God brought me through. Like, he sent people in my life that helped me so bad. Like, just older women that kind of encouraged me and kind of mothered me in a sense and supported me in ways that I didn't feel like I had. And then I remember, really learning that home ownership was a possibility for me, and then trying to go about getting a house, not being able to because of my credit, and I didn't make enough money, all that kind of stuff. And then getting to a point where God put people in my life to help me learn how to manage my finances for free, like free financial advisor. Like, to this day, ladies, still, like, if you need my help, I will help you. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love hearing your backstory as to how you started off and where you are now. If you can, I know you're talking about your challenges with you yourself personally. Can you talk about the challenges that you have with working with the reentry program?
Challenges that I have, I think,
or any challenges that you faced
that exist
during,
or that I faced during. Personal challenges, not really, not for myself personally within the work, just because I think if there were any challenges that I've had personally is when I haven't been able to help in the ways that I've wanted to, or the ways that I thought that I should be able to, because of some type of systemic thing that won't allow me to serve somebody well. You know what I mean? Like, some of those times where you gotta kind of have to ask for forgiveness instead of asking for permission so that you can help people. Well, those things. Sometimes when I've had to not turn people away, but I couldn't be as responsive to their needs as I would want. For instance, if somebody came in and they needed help with finding housing and it's Friday at 4:00, you know what I mean? Like, and I know this person is sleeping in their car, having to be okay with them maybe sleeping in their car for the weekend until I can get back on Monday. Not because, I can't work on it throughout the weekend, but because there's nothing open for me to work with during that time.
Exactly.
So those kinds of things. But I think on a bigger level, some of the challenges that I see in the work that I do is just around, number one, people working together. That's one thing. Also, number two, having systems in place that are meeting the needs of the people. Like, sometimes you have systems in place that are going to bring organizations or companies the outcomes and the numbers, but it's not necessarily the easiest, most harmless way for somebody to go through your system to get what they need, right? And so, like, sometimes, especially we've seen it in social services agencies where people, they have to keep coming back 100 times to get something that they need. I need food, but you want me to bring you all these papers, and you want me to, come to all of these meetings and do it. Give me the food.
I need food now.
Right, like now. Meet my need, and then maybe I'll come back and do your meeting and bring you some papers. But I think that's one of the challenges that I see is just, and it's no blame to anybody on either side, because we have to have the outcomes, we have to have the numbers, we have to have the systems. But I struggle sometimes with the way the systems are set up and with understanding if they really help people or not. And sometimes they really don't. And so then I find myself standing in the gap. And kind of sometimes being overwhelmed by doing more than what I probably should do, because I really want to help these people. You know what I mean? But I think that might be one of the biggest issues I see right now. And just people being treated like humans. I feel like there's a shift happening in reentry where people are starting to realize, like you said, oh, these are real people. These are human beings that they feel bad about whatever they did. You know what I mean? And they are ready to come back to the community and be successful and be a productive part of our communities. But they're still not necessarily being given the opportunity to do that without the judgment and the stigma because of their backgrounds. For instance, if somebody's been in prison for 10 years for committing a robbery, let's say, okay, if the court is saying that this person did their time and they've served their debt to the society, why are we then putting all of these extra limits on them when they get out? So now they can't get a job, or the job that they get doesn't allow them to really take care of themselves or their families. What do you think is going to happen? Like you said, they're going to do something else that they probably are not intending on going back to prison, but that's eventually where it's going to lead, you know? And so that's another challenge I see, is just really, really being, our society really being forgiving and giving people opportunities to be successful. I don't think everybody needs that. You know what I mean? Some people, it might be best for them to be over there, right here. But for the majority, you know what I mean? Yeah, for the majority, you know, give them a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's hard when you have, let's say, 20 people that need help with employment, and you have 5 employers that will hire them. But then you got another 10 employers that need people but don't want to hire people with background. Like, hire them and see what happens. Most times they're probably going to be your best workers because they understand that you're giving them an opportunity that somebody else might not, you know? And so, but we work on people and we advocate and we, you know, speak into the right rooms to try to bring some awareness to that.
Yeah. I do love the fact that you do go above and beyond. That's one of the things that, and I speaking back on me, but with my job, when I would tell my advocates, I know that we're not technically supposed to call the doctor's office to get information. However, if you want to go above and beyond to help this person, because you know, like you said, it's Friday. You know, the doctor's office is closed at 5 p.m. Here we are at 4:30. This member is calling because they don't have their prescription. Well, go above and beyond, call the doctor's office, get them to do whatever they need to do so that they can have it before 5 o'clock. So I do love the fact that, you know, it's not because your job, is because the heart that you have to want to go above and beyond to help these people to make sure they get what they need. And a lot of people don't do that because they feel like, oh, this is cutthroat. This is the red tape here. Federal guidelines state that I only have to do the bare minimum for A, B, and C.
Or I'm off.
I get off at 5 o'clock. You call me at 5:01. I'm getting ready to go out the door. And instead, you, Shanae, you are saying, no, let me go ahead and take care of this because I don't want to see this person without. Or I can't do it right now. Not that like you said, not that I don't want to do it right now. My hands are tied and I can't. And can you wait, please, until Monday, 8 p.m., whatever, so I can make sure that I can reach out to these said people to make sure that you have what you need. So I feel like that's a wonderful thing that you do go above and beyond because it's in your heart. Yeah, that makes a difference.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go now a little further. Tell me about your project.
Purpose Project.
Yes.
So the Purpose Project was something that I was divinely inspired for sure. I am a systems, strategy, thinking kind of person, right? And so I think in systems, I think in strategies. I'm an ideas person. So if people come to me and they're like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I mean, it could be in regular conversation. My brain is automatically popping off ideas of, how they can make it better, how they can do it easier, how they can do it smoother. And so the Purpose Project really came out of me understanding that, number one, I am a woman of purpose. Like, I always want the things that I do to be intentional and purposeful and meaningful. I don't want to just do things just to do it. But I also recognize that having this gift of strategy, of systems, of processes, of structure and organization, I want to be able to offer that to people who also want to operate in purpose. They know what they want to do, but they just don't know necessarily the how, right? Like, they know what their ultimate vision is, but they don't necessarily know how to structure it in a way that they can actually fulfill their purpose. And so that's one of the things that I do as a business consultant. I listen to people, they give me their vision, their ideas, and then we work together to strategize how do we make this a real thing that you can actually step out and accomplish. I'm currently working with an organization called Wounded Healers of North Carolina. They are a reentry peer support program. And so they are individuals who have lived experience with reentry. The founder, he was in prison for 29 years. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Like, that's somebody's whole life.
It is somebody's whole life.
A whole life.
Just about.
A whole life. So he was in prison for 29 and a half years, I think it was. And he started, while he was in prison, he started this organization called Wounded Healers to help people that are transitioning out of prison kind of get back to life once they get out. And so I've been working with them for about a year, a little over a year now, helping them build their program, strategizing, and really putting their stuff together so that they can fulfill their purpose. Because I believe in the work that they're doing. I know it's so necessary, because at the end of the day, you always gonna have people, as long as we have a criminal justice system, you're gonna have people coming out of prison, and they're gonna need support when they get out. And so I'm really grateful that that's actually the second project I've worked on under my LLC. And the first one was it was an employment service for individuals with backgrounds, helping them get connected to employers. So yeah, that's the Purpose Project.
I really love that.
Thank you.
My goodness. Yeah. And we need more stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Honestly. Because, I mean, the prison is full. It's to capacity, in my opinion.
To the point where they're opening new ones.
Yeah.
Or reopening old ones because they're at capacity with the ones that they have.
Yeah. And then there's so many people who are, when they're ready to come out, they're, like I said earlier, they're ready to, they can't go back to normal, but they want to go to the closest normal that they can, to be functioning citizens in the community, to be able to do what they need to do. And to do what they can to not go back there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anything else that I have missed in asking you? Anything else you want to discuss that you would like to talk about? The floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you. Look, I like to talk about stuff. So another thing that I'm really passionate about is, I said it earlier, women's health and wellness. So I actually started this, it's kind of like a little movement. It's called the Keto Connection. Okay. When I was 16, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And so, I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic, but they kept telling me that if I didn't change my diet and exercise, you're gonna have type 2 diabetes. I'm 16. I don't know what y'all talking about. Like, whatever.
Right.
That means nothing to me.
Right.
Anyway, years down the line, I wind up being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. They kept telling me the same thing, diet and exercise, but it never computed in my brain. Like, no one ever really took the time to sit down with me and help me understand what that meant. And I remember one day, early 30s, or maybe in my early 30s, I was like, I don't want to be sick like this, because I knew that I could tell that my blood sugar was out of whack. Because I could feel it. I had lived with it for so long. I knew what it felt like. Yeah. And it just dawned on me one day, like, I don't want to be sick for the rest of my life. So I wind up going to this physician who I didn't really care for her, because she was cool. I didn't really care for her, though, because she was under the impression that I needed to take medication for the rest of my life. And I was under the impression that I could reverse type 2 diabetes if I had the right tools. Yeah. Because I had done some research about it. Anyway, she connected me with the Asian doctor, Dr. Shea, and that man helped change my life. Like, he taught me how to do keto, how to eat low carb. Like, he held me accountable. And working with him, I lost 40 pounds. I went from type 2 diabetic to not even pre-diabetic, like below that. Yeah. And I have been living that lifestyle ever since. And that has been one of the things that I am really extremely happy about, because I see the effects of disease on family members, but then also just other people. You know what I mean? Like, diabetes really can, like, rob you of your life, like your eyes, your limbs. Like, it just affects so many parts of us. And I've seen people have to live with those effects, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. Yeah. And so I have committed myself to eating well. I share a lot on my social media around healthy lifestyle, eating well, working out, even simple things, taking a walk, health and wellness. Like I'm all about the peaceful, soft girl, healthy life, enjoying life, and just thriving in life.
I love it.
Living a good life. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Let's see. How is life? I know you spoke on it, but how is life different now from how life was when you lived in New York?
Oh, girl, that's a good question. It's very different. Well, first of all, when I lived in New York, I've always been a believer. I grew up in church. My grandparents were in church. My grandmother was a reverend.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always known about God. I've always had a relationship with God to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
But those years in New York, I think were really like my rebellious years. Like I was in the street. I was running wild.
Yeah.
And I think leaving that environment, I kind of liken it to maybe like Abraham in the Bible, where he left everything he knew, he left behind to follow God to something that he didn't necessarily know what was going to happen, but he trusted that it was going to be better than what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really is what it was for me. Since I've been in North Carolina, I mean, just having a safe place for my daughter to grow up. I don't feel like, I know, and some people might not like me saying this, but I know I did not have a safe childhood. You know what I mean? Being able to provide that for my daughter is like one of my biggest desires. You know what I mean? As her mother, was to be able to provide her a space where she felt safe. You know what I mean? So that. Also, having community. When I was growing up, we moved around a lot. So my daughter, she's moved around a couple times, but she's been in the same high school. She started middle school here. She has friends that she's built relationships with over the years. You know what I mean? And I think that speaks to her having a community and having stability in her own life. Becoming a homeowner, you know what I mean? As a single woman, thank you. Yeah. I don't know that I would have been able to do that in New York. You know what I mean? And just the different mindset that I have and the lifestyle that I live now, I don't know that I don't think that I would have had that if I would have stayed where I was.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful that God not only made the way for me, but also gave me the courage to be like, I'm out and stay out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah.
That definitely happens.
It does happen.
And then how many times did God tell you to move?
From New York?
Yes.
So I don't even know if he told me to move. I think it was just something in me was I got to get out of here. Mm-hmm. And I remember, okay, real quick, I'm going to tell you the story. I'm telling you, my life is divine.
Yeah.
So I was working for a job. I got fired did I get fired or did I quit? Something happened. I think I got laid off from the job. Mm-hmm. But I left the job and it was a month and I was unemployed. And I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. I was applying for jobs. But in that time that I was looking, I was praying all right, Lord, because maybe he did tell me he wanted me to leave, or I felt like he wanted me to leave. But I was like, all right, if you want me to leave, I need to have a place to live and I need to have a job because I'm not going nowhere where I got to live with somebody else or I ain't got no job. That just don't seem like the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. So my mom lived in Texas at the time. My dad had lived in North Carolina, but he had passed away. But my cousins were still here. So I was like, it's between those two places because I got to go somewhere where I know somebody. You know what I mean? And I couldn't decide which place to go, but I knew it was one of those. Well, I wound up getting a call about this job that I applied for. And when I went on a job interview, great interview, at the end of the interview, he said, oh yeah, by the way, we're opening an office in North Carolina. So if you ever want to relocate, just let us know. And I was like, that's my job.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. That's my way out right there. And he was like, okay, well, we'll call you in about 2 weeks or so and let you know. They called me that night at 6:57. I'll never forget it. And the lady was like, yeah, we just wanted to call and offer you the position. Absolutely, I will take it. Yes, I will.
Quick, fast,
and I took that job, quick, fast. And I took that job with the understanding that I was going to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so they told me I had to work there for about, I think it was 6 months, kind of get my feet in the door or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I could request. And I did. Me and my best friend, we drove down here. Me and my best friend, my daughter, we drove down here, stayed at my cousin's. I went and looked at some apartments, got the apartment, went back to New York, packed it up, and came on down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how that happened.
Divine.
Divine, girl. As I'm telling you, all of this is so funny because sometimes we forget. You know what I mean? Like we just get so comfortable with where we are that we forget like everything that we've gone through. But just talking to you is helping me remember how divine my life has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's refreshing,
It
isn't
is very refreshing. Very much so.
Yeah.
And it's humbling too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why me? Out of all the people in my family or just period.
Why not you?
Well, that's true too.
Why not you?
Why not me? Okay.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Why not you? So, what are some of the takeaways that you would like our audience to take away from this interview with you? Yes.
I mean, take away that this is who I am. Take away that God is amazing and he does good things. If we just listen and pay attention and allow him to lead us and are willing to be obedient, he can and will transform our lives. Like, if anything that I've said, I hope that people take from that. Also, you know, it's important that we look out for other people and that we take care of other people in our communities and that we use whatever skills, whatever talents God has given us, whether it's advocacy, whether it's strategy, whether it's filmmaking, whatever he's given you that's a skill and tool, use that to help somebody else be better or to have a better experience in this life. That's really important. And I think living a life that's purposeful is so much more meaningful than just existing. You know what I mean? Like when you have a reason for being here, or you feel like the things that you do, they're intentional and it's for something more than just yourself. Like, I think that's something that helps us feel good about ourselves, boost our confidence, our self-esteem. And ultimately, I think it helps us live good lives because the good that we give to others, we get that back. I remember when I was working with the women in transitional in the program, I was overseeing the transitional houses. And it was during the time that I was trying to buy a house and I kept getting the door closed in my face. And I remember women coming to me asking me to sign paperwork for them to purchase a home.
Wow.
Mind you, this is women that just got out of prison, purchasing homes. And I'm like, why can't I get a home? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then I got a home. But not only did I get a home, I got a home better than what I asked for. But I feel like that was God's way of saying, if you take care of what I need you to take care, I'm going to take care of you. So that's what I want people to know, that if we take care of what God wants us to take care of, he will take care of us all the time.
I love it. I love it. So one other thing I did want to bring up too, I know you mentioned that you wrote 2 books. And what was the other book that you wrote?
Oh, so it was Master the Match, the Woman of Color's Guide to Matching Her Foundation. So when I first started with the makeup artistry stuff, I too had issues with making sure that my foundation looked like it was supposed to belong on my face. So after doing some research and just kind of talking to people and, you know, trial and error of my own, I learned how to properly match. So I wrote a little guide. I think it's maybe about like 20 pages or so, just giving women tips on how to go about making sure that they're choosing the right foundation color. Because ain't nothing wrong then, you know, I know, like the neck one color, here one color, up there another color. So nice little makeup guide.
I definitely understand that because sheesh. So a little other background on me, I do modeling and acting.
Do you?
As well as do podcasts and so
nice.
forth. So with that, well, let me take it back. As a little girl, I was always into makeup. I thought makeup was so pretty. And, you know, seeing my mom with the makeup on, other people with makeup on, I always thought it was really pretty. And I wanted to do that. So when I was younger, you know, we have those trauma times where I had put on, it was red lipstick. And it was so pretty because, you know, with different skin tones, different colors look good on those skin tones. So I'm like, my aunties wear red lipstick, so let me try the red lipstick. I went to, this is on my father's side, went to my grandmother's, my mother's side, her aunt, which would be my great aunt. I went to her house and I had it on. And my aunt is like, what are you doing with the red lipstick
Red
on?
lipstick
I'm
on.
like, because I think it's pretty. You know, the people who wear red lipstick,
She
the
didn't
women
say
of the
that.
night, she sure did. I'm like, really, RC?
She said the women of the
Red
night.
women of the night. So for a while, I stopped wearing red lipstick.
Right.
But anywho, as I really started getting into makeup, when I did my modeling so far, I did realize then that it is hard. I don't care what complexion of brown you are.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard to find makeup that matches your skin tone without doing the blending and so forth.
Yeah.
And I remember one fashion show I did, I had, I have a picture somewhere where you can see where I have 2 different shades of foundation that I've dotted on my face and I blended in to get my complexion. So the book that you made, that you wrote, I feel like that'll be great for women to help them with doing their color matching.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I feel like that'll be a good thing, especially for us women of color.
It is for us.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because I'm sick of them having us. We go into the places to get matched, and they don't even match us right.
No.
Yeah.
No. Or we come out look like we set for the funeral.
Right.
I don't want to
Set.
I don't want to be powdery. Please don't do that.
I do that. I could be ashy on my own. Okay.
Yes. Let me do it to myself. Not
exactly. Don't do it to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So to close, first I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to come sit with me, to talk about you, to talk about all your accomplishments from where you started to where you are now. Where can the audience find you? Like, do you have a website where we can find your books? Where can someone book you for consultation? All of the above, or even to assist with the re-entry program.
Nice. So that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a
lot
lot.
of
But we
different
need
places.
to know all of that.
No, I know. So yeah, I am on social media, Shanae M Artis on all channels. So that's Facebook, that's TikTok, that's Instagram, that's LinkedIn as well. So if people want to connect with me for anything regarding the Purpose Project, you can send me an email, shanaeartis84@gmail.com. Or you can find me on one of those channels and shoot me a message if you want, and I'll definitely get back to you. And regarding the reentry stuff, you can find me on LinkedIn, Shanae M Artis. Send me a message there, and I will give you my contacts to connect with me professionally for that.
Awesome. Yeah. I really enjoyed this.
I did too. Thank you. You have been an excellent interviewer. I appreciate you. We could talk all day.
Absolutely, girl. We could talk all day.
All day. Yes. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. So again, this is Shauna, your girl Shauna, with Visually Speaking Podcast. And tonight we were interviewing the beautiful
Shanae Artis.
And that's a wrap. I appreciate it. Bye.